Her letter broke me twice. Sometimes the most ordinary days conceal the deepest betrayals. A folded piece of paper, a glance in the wrong direction, or a sound at the wrong moment can change everything you thought you knew. I believed my life was stable, unshackable, until I stumbled upon a letter that was never meant for my eyes. I remember that afternoon too clearly, the air heavy with the smell of rain, the streets shimmering under the dim light of a sky too lazy to break into sun. I had come home early, not because of suspicion, but because I wanted to surprise her with flowers. The door was ajar, unusual but not alarming, until I noticed the folded piece of paper slipped halfway under our bedroom door. At first I thought it was nothing, maybe a bill or a note she dropped. But something about the careful handwriting, the way my name wasn't written anywhere on it, pulled me in. I picked it up and read, and with every line the ground beneath me cracked. It wasn't written to me. It was written to someone else. Words of longing, of hidden moments, of promises whispered in the dark. She spoke of nights that had left her trembling, of a future she dreamed of but couldn't yet claim, of how soon everything would change. My name was absent, as if I had already been erased. My first instinct was denial. Surely this was from a time before me, a relic from an old love she forgot to discard. But the date inked at the top was yesterday. Yesterday, when she told me she was working late. I felt my chest collapse in on itself. The flowers slipped from my hands, scattering petals across the floor like the remains of a ceremony that never happened. I stood there for what felt like hours, reading and rereading, the words carving into me deeper with each glance. She came home not long after, humming softly, her keys jangling in that casual rhythm I had always loved. I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I watched her move through the apartment, setting her bag down, kicking off her shoes, smiling absent-mindedly when she noticed the flowers on the floor, assuming I had left them there for her. She picked them up and placed them in a vase, never noticing how my hands trembled, how my eyes burned. That night I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling while her breath rose and fell beside me, wondering how many nights had been shared with another, how many truths had been buried beneath her silence. I wanted to rage, to demand answers, but instead I kept quiet, almost afraid of confirming what I already knew. Days passed in a haze. I carried the letter with me everywhere, folded tightly in my pocket like a wound I refused to let heal. I imagined scenarios. Confronting her, leaving her, forgiving her. Each time, none of them felt real because I still loved her even as the truth devoured me. Then, one evening, I finally decided to speak. I pulled the letter out and laid it on the table, my heart pounding like a drum of war. She froze when she saw it, her face draining of color, her lips parting in shock. But before I could unleash the storm of questions, she whispered something that shattered me all over again. "It's not what you think. It's not him. It's you." I stared at her, unable to comprehend, until she explained. The letter wasn't a confession of betrayal. It was a confession of escape. She had been writing to me all along, not in the present, but in the future she hoped for. A version of me she wished could exist. The man I used to be, the one she said she was losing. She was in love with the memory of me, and she was preparing herself for a life without the person I had become. That was the moment the twist struck harder than any betrayal. She hadn't cheated. She hadn't lied. She had already left me, quietly, in her heart, and the letter was proof. I thought I was the one betrayed, but the truth was crueler. I had been forgotten, not by someone else stepping in, but by the ghost of who I once was. And there, with the rain starting again outside, I realized the worst kind of lost isn't when someone loves another. It's when they stop loving you, and you never even noticed until it was too late.